How would you like to achieve your first million? And today we have with us an entrepreneur, CEO of TechRescue, business development leader, as he specializes in scaling businesses through innovation, strategic sales, and customer-first solution. His expertise in lead generation, partnership, and market expansion, with a background from Wall Street in finance, sales, construction, and leadership. So, Andrew, tell us what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
First steps to make your first million. They're going to sound simple, and it is. It actually really is. The hardest part is letting it happen, which is step number 1. Let it happen. You're sitting there, you're thinking of an idea, car wash, lawnmower, whatever. You're thinking too much. Just live your life every day, and where you're going to find your idea are the inconveniences that life presents you. There are opportunities everywhere. On a podcast, we were just having a discussion with myself, the podcast Hard Hat to CEO. And one of the ideas that we were just coming up with was that on construction sites, most of the guys have to take care of machines, excavators, skid steers, backhoes, and bulldozers and things like that. Well, these machines have to be maintained every 2 weeks, technically. And, you have to pull a guy off a project that he's doing to go grease the machines. That's maybe a day just doing that. And I said, if you were to have a kid in a pickup truck, go over to Harbor Freight, pick up cases of Red Wolf gear lubricant, which is what a lot of the machines use. Just drive around New Jersey to job site, charge $20 an hour, just to grease the machines. So you get a Milwaukee automatic electric grease gunner, which is like $120, $300 worth of grease, and you charge $20 an hour. You get machines done, maybe a case a job, and throughout the day, you're making a name and a reputation. You develop the business cards, and he goes, "Oh my God, I love this idea," and he ran with it, and he started typing and stuff like that. I gave somebody a multi-million-dollar idea, just letting things happen. That's step number 1. Step number 2, start. Where do you start? How do you start? What if that? You got a piece of paper and a pen? Just dribble an idea, just scribble something out. Now you've started, put an idea into reality. That's the hardest step, is just making it actually happen. Now, where society, TV, the media, and social media, which is the worst thing that has ever happened to society in ever, wants you to believe that, some kid on Instagram and Amazon and this drop shipment business, this stuff happens overnight. You know what happens to fast money? You're looking at a 2-time millionaire. I was valued at $20 million in the height of one of our startup projects that I was in as the vice president of sales. They dropped the B word. I don't like that word. I don't like the B word, because everybody starts to change when the B word comes around. My portion, just my small percentage of equity, I was worth in 2019, when I was first married, I was worth $22.7 million.
Wow, that's very impressive.
We sold $13 million in $13 million in signed contract deals. We had $30 million in LOIs, and we had a pipeline, government contracts, private interest groups, that was valued at $875 million, because I put into the contracts for all of our clients. It was a 3-year minimum contract. So I guaranteed us at least 2.1 years, because in the contract, it states that a breakage of the clause for any period of time will only be allocated 2 years of the total contract. So yes, people could probably get away with, getting over on us, but we still got paid. My feeling is as long as we got paid and you feel
We good.
like youth with something, we still got paid. And this is where people get that wrong. And this is number 3, getting to it, is that I didn't know how to do these things until number 3, I asked for help. You don't know how to do these things. I didn't.
Yeah, because then COVID came, and then you might be out of the hook.
Exactly.
You don't have the right contract, right?
Exactly. So My very first boss, when I was working on Wall Street, there was a problem. I went into his office and I said we had a problem and I explained it and he threw me out quite vocally. I was eating lunch that afternoon and he comes and sits down next to me. He goes, "Do you know why I did that?" I said, "No, sir." And he goes, "If you ever come into my office and you don't have three solutions, I will fire you." And he goes, "My job is not to think for you. That's your job. My job is to make decisions. So if you don't give me three options, that means I now have to do your job. And if I have to do your job, then why are you here?" That was the best lesson in life I ever got.
Absolutely. I use this in my company all the time.
So there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Now, in the world of technology, there are things called growth mentors, society, men's groups, women's groups. There are all these groups around the world that you can sign up for, and they're open chats. You post an idea, you say, "Hey, you know, and guess what? You're now talking to people all over the world. Now you may have a company in the making with somebody in China, somebody in Australia, somebody in Berlin, somebody in the United States, in Mexico, in South America. We are now a global society. We're a global society. My company is international. Why? Because anybody with an internet connection and a Wi-Fi connection, I can get to you. I have client bases, I have clients that are very well established people because we offer a premium service for a discounted price. For $50 a month, you get 24-hour customer service. You have a problem, you call us. You and your wife could be on your yacht in Egypt. You have satellite connectivity. You call me, I receive the phone call. My team now can help you. We are global. We are an entire global world. So now that step with number four is called adaptability. We are no longer in this rigid world of a cook. Look at every big box store that now still exists. Where are they? They got bought by Amazon.
Mhm.
Amazon adapted. It realized that there's a world of opportunity and it doesn't have to fight. It doesn't fight. It just absorbs. It adapts. And guess what? It has more money than a dollar amount. And this is the part that people need to realize. When you adapt, you're not surrendering, you're evolving. And if you don't believe that, his name is Jeff Bezos. He started an online bookstore with
And
only
look,
10,000
uh,
with
and
only
look where he
10,000.
is now.
Jeff Bezos started as a bookstore online and now he owns everything.
Absolutely. So what's the next step?
So, with step number four, adapt and reinvest. Look at Jeff. He reinvested. He reinvested. Don't spend the money. Keep adapting. Keep adapting. The money, get this out of your heads. Get this out of your heads. Money is not the object. No, success is. You win. When you win, that comes with the prizes. Do not look at the money. The money is a distraction. I am telling you this from Wall Street. Money is a distraction. The bell ain't over. Remember, the bell ain't over. And rule number five, and this is the part that every Wall Streeter gets wrong, and when he burns his first millions. Rule number 47 of the laws of power. Number one, you should know that book by heart. If you are going into this world, if you don't have the 48 laws of power, dark side psychology, Art of War by Napoleon, Art of War of Sun Tzu, Machiavelli, The Prince. If you have not read any of these books, do not start this business. Don't start. Don't even come to do not even come to class. This is a prerequisite. That's a prerequisite for this class. Rule to stop. Look at every great empire, including the United States. I will say this now. Look at the United States. Overexpansionism ruins empires. You want
That happened to the Roman Empire, actually.
Romans, the Spartans, what
Yeah,
happened to
they
the
were too big.
in 536 BCE, the Spartans became the Spartans after perfecting the hiplite, perfecting the lance stance. They perfected all military forms. They were the most powerful region in the landlocked area of Greece. After a 27-year war with Athens, out of pride, spite, they finally conquered Athens and they won. Problem is they didn't know when to stop. And they basically corrupted themselves from the inside out. Alexander the Great expanded his empire to the far reaches of almost India. And guess what happened? It fell apart because It was a kingdom too vast. The Roman Empire, as you just said, expanded too greatly because it didn't have the continual resources to expand. Know when to stop. I'll give you all people a number. It's my number. Your number could be whatever it is. My number is $5 million. And why do I say 5 million? Andrew, aren't you chasing? Yes, I know. I know exactly what I'm chasing. 5 million to me. If you know how to play this game, which I'll now give you, let's say you do a 30-year annuity. Atlantic Atlantic Gulf Coast has a 6.39 annuity, 30 years at 6.39. So if you put 5 million, so let's run this. So a $5 million at 6.39% interest annuity for a 30-year lock is what? And that should be somewhere in the neighborhood of about high twos. See, adaptability, real
Mhm.
technology. I guess I can ask the most powerful system in the world that has ever existed in real time.
I will give
Google.
you.
Can you imagine what could have been accomplished through the 60s, 70s, and 80s if they had our technology? No, I was wrong. A $5 million annuity locked in for 30 years at a 6.39% interest rate, which is not the S&P. Oh my God, this, that, and the other thing. You could get these returns. It's $378,532 $3. 30 years reinvested at a 60-40 split reinvest. Now, this is also rule number 5, know when to stop. Understanding the rules of money and how power and interest work.
Mm.
You understand this, gentlemen, ladies, you will have in 30 years. Now, this is the power of compound. If an annuity at $378 and $532.32 is reinvested for 30 years with a 60-40 split between an 8% and 4% return given the possible influx of years, but at a 6.39% annuity rate, the future value would approximately be 34,174,898
Look at
dollars.
this. Look at this.
So, ladies and gentlemen, in 30 years, so I'm 36, I'll be 66. Now, with science and technology the way it is, how many 60-year-olds look like they're 60-year-olds?
So,
I just went from five, I told myself five to live my life, which is $378,000. That's a lot of money. I mean, let's
mhm.
be realistic here. That's a lot of money. All of you young guys out there working at McDonald's right now, looking at your paycheck, thinking about what's next. How do I get to that next level? I'm telling you right now, I can wake up every single day for the rest of my life. What is that per day? Is that per day pay? I can wake up single of my life because I invested, I put away, I didn't immediately take, I put back. That's $3,200 a day just to wake up.
Really powerful.
Do you see, ladies and gentlemen, that you're looking at the end results be and scared to take the first step? Don't be. Just
Now,
try.
Andrew, the next question is the follow because a lot of people, we talk a lot about how to make money, but nobody talks uh, how to keep it. And I think that what you are referring, sharing with us is something that we want to open and be available for all entrepreneurs because we have a common behavior that an entrepreneur have a business, yeah, and then all the money they make, they reinvest in the business. They take all the money they make, they reinvest in the business, and then after 5, 6, 7 years, market conditions change drastically, and you go out of business, and you end up with zero. So, well, something alternative could be your money. You use that money, you buy an asset, you buy a property at least, and with the rent that this property is producing, you can use it. You go or you reinvest it somewhere else. The point of the story is that the entrepreneurs they're not aware about the big risk that is involved in having your own business and all the money you make it reinvest your own business and reinvest your own business because literally you can go and move it into a different vehicles. We make at least if they and they get in rent and they're using the rent for marketing. If they go to business, at
So
least the houses are
also,
there and the rent. continue. So what's your
I'll
view on
sell.
this? Because everybody talk about how to make
I'll
money,
say.
but
I'll
nobody
say.
talks about how to keep it. And this is
I'll
as
say.
important because you share with me
I'll tell
you
you
have lost
exactly.
millions, done it as well.
I'll tell
So
you exactly.
what's the secret?
So the secret to that is this: your ambitions need to be as equal as where you are right now. So let's say you have a $378,000 lifestyle, right? This is your lifestyle per year. You want to keep growing, you want to keep growing, you want to keep growing. That's fine. That's perfect. This this needs to stay rock solid. This cannot be touched at all. This is your solitude. This is, in the movie The Gambler with Mark Wahlberg. Every schmuck knows what to do with 2 million. Guess what? This is your fortress. This cannot be touched. So as this goes up, that needs to go up. For every how high you want to play this game, you need to have your back door covered.
Especially if you're an entrepreneur, because you
So
need to
what
know
does
the
that
risks
mean?
involved in having and owning a business.
So what
Regardless
does
that it's making money and it's working, a competitor come, anything can happen. So you have
so
to plan for a rainy day, like people say, right?
yep. So what does that mean? It means that you not
Did you
only have
plan, Andrew, when you were young
actually.
and you went to John Street to Wall Street?
Oh no, I didn't plan. I didn't plan at all. Oh, I didn't plan. I didn't plan
Because
anything.
nobody talks about this. Nobody
Well,
talks. Nobody. If somebody told you, Andrew, look, be careful. You're going to Wall Street. You're gonna make millions. Hold on a minute. All this money, use it wisely. Put it in the annuity. What you just sharing with me now, yeah. And why you giving us this lesson now? I know for a fact that only the people that
here's
talk about this is people
I'm
that
gonna
know for the fact how
here's
having it and lose it all. Yeah.
all right. So here's a topic I want to discuss that's really important that can get discussed. Ladies and gentlemen, consider this the night. Consider this the conversation the night before the very next day, and I'm going to tell you what that feeling like. You're going to go to bed tonight. It was a normal day. You did your job wherever you worked. You tried to put in hours into your company. You turned off the bed. You had your ritual, whatever it is that you do, and you went to bed. You're going to wake up the next day. There's going to be text messages because it usually comes in as text messages. But when you swipe down to see who texted you in the middle of the night, it says deposit. And you're confused and you look and you see that it's a deposit for whatever your product is, the exact amount for some odd reason. And you scroll and all of a sudden you go down 5 or 6 and you hit it and you're like, wait a minute, wait a minute. Now adrenaline starts kicking in. Now you start realizing what may or may happen in the middle of the night. You go to
Wow.
your computer, you go to your computer, you turn it on, you go to your account where you have business registered, and all of a sudden you see numbers in there. You refresh the page, and all of a sudden there's a little bit more now. Take a deep breath, relax. Just take a deep breath. This is how it starts. Do not, under any circumstances, touch that money unless it is to pay off whatever credit cards you have racked up on this venture. Get that off your neck. Get that noose off your neck. Get it off as fast as you can. I deposited it straight into my credit card because I had about $100,000 in debt on this credit card for this company. Every day, some was a little, some was a lot. Boom, 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 boom. I just kept dumping it, dumping it. I didn't say anything to anybody. I didn't tell anybody anything. I didn't anybody know anything. I kept business as usual. I kept my personal life as usual. I went on podcasts like we are now. We're getting ready to go on Fox to do an announcement.
Wow.
Yep. I haven't told anybody anything, nor will I, because I don't have my fortress. Now, my fortress level is here in my mind. Now, as I said, adaptability, rule number 4, or step number 4, grow as your fortress grows. So let's say you have 10,000 now in profit because I paid off my credit cards. $10,000 in profit is no longer profit. That's operational cost. Now you have to put into marketing because now, and this is the flow of money, you found the channel in which you can now extract. Now, what you need to do is what they do in the old days when you found water. Keep digging and wall up with rocks the well. Solidify the well. Now you found the water. Solidify it. Don't let it go away. Open up the hole. Whatever marketing strategy you had, double it. Whatever campaigns you were running, triple it. You've got some money, bam, hit it. You now have it. You've now hit the target. Hit it. Just keep pounding it. Because don't think this is your money. It's not. This is just the beginning. You have to burn it to keep the fire alive because you've now found it. And this is where I'd say 90% of all the businesses make their mistake. It's not because they failed in their businesses, it's because they didn't know how to use it. You're going to tell me, if we look at these statistics, the 2 to 3 year mark, these people left a job, whatever they were doing, started this for 3 years, and their business fails? No, 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 no. Their business started to make money, and they did what every single person does. They spent it. We just lost business. No, you didn't lose business because you didn't open up the hole. The flow of money is constantly moving. You need to give it a big enough hole to keep flowing in your direction. That's what you're doing. Or otherwise, you know what you're going to be doing? You're going to be spending all your time digging holes again, looking for it. Once you have it, don't let it go for anything. That's the
Yeah.
secret. Don't let it go for anything.
So then, Andrew, how you learn that secret? Do you
The
read any
secret,
book? Do you have any mentor? Do you have to you plan
Alex,
in a way? Because I think that the other day somebody in this attended to this broadcast. He exited in a tech company. Yeah. That by the way, the 105 guests from this podcast are tech entrepreneurs. So we are very supportive on tech businesses, and yeah, you can become really wealthy doing tech businesses like you. Be aware of the risk because tech is really competitive and really risky, but there is a good chance if you keep it tight. If you listen what Andrew is sharing here, it's very important to plan your finance. Yes. And especially when you're doing a tech product, keep it tight, keep your expenses to the minimum. Remember, when you're doing an MVP, it's a minimum viable product. Everyone in tech forget about this M, and they spend a lot of money creating this what we call it MVP, minimum viable product. So financial planning is key in order for entrepreneurs that are starting the business, because you need to know exactly, like I'm doing sharing, you need to know what is the end point, what is your exit, how much you need. Like, for example, it's very powerful what you shared. You tell me, Harry, I only need 5 million, because with 5 million, I know exactly what to do to my 30 million in 30 years, you said, right?
there you
So, so at the end of
there
the
you go.
day, you need to have a plan, yeah, and you don't need as much money as you think you need if you have a plan how to what to do with the money, yeah. And entrepreneurs, founders, in order to create the fortress that you're sharing with us, you need to know your number. You need to know that when your company is making money, what part is gonna go to reinvest in your company, marketing or whatever, and what part is gonna go to build that fortress that's gonna keep you safe, so you can open. Like the other day, the question is, the other day, someone exited the tech business for a few millions. He attended this podcast, and he was sharing with me that that his company, he went to financial planners and financial advisors to give them advice what to do with the money, and he found so little information, so many disrupting information, that now he's creating an AI software that will assess the portfolio and financial planning. And the guy is just a tech entrepreneur; he's not from finance or anything. However, he has something really powerful in his mind. He said, "Okay, I create wealth. How can I keep this wealth? I need to go to finance planner. I need to start to learn what to do with this money." It's very rare to find this in entrepreneurs. What we find common in entrepreneur have an exit, make a lot of money, call this money, and do another business, and then lose it all. So,
Because we're
what can we
addicted
do?
because we're
What can we
addicted
do
to
to
the
raise
challenge.
awareness? What can we do to raise awareness?
You're addicted to the challenge. Accept it. So the biggest issue that a lot of entrepreneurs have is that it's really it chasing highs because that's what we're doing. We're creating out of nothing And when it succeeds, there's no better feeling because at the end of the day, you asked a question and you were right. Your answer was right, and you received your rewards. Napoleon in The Art of War explains this. This one's a fun one. This is Mob
This is a
Rules.
good book, The Art of War. Very good. Yeah.
Mob Rules. This is actually a really interesting book on how the mafia of the 1960s, 70s, and 80s and 90s can play today in business today. Keep your mouth
Wow.
shut, save your life. And the king, Steve BlackRock. I mean, Blackstone. This is his autobiography. You want to talk about a man that risked it all and bet big?
Wow.
And this one is actually a family favorite. Is the story of Durastat. You don't know who Durastat is. I guarantee you don't, because it was sold to Nikon back in the late 70s. This was one of my mom's bosses,
Oh, wow.
Bob Iger. For 17 years, he built that company, but overnight exploded.
It
But the
happened.
story is that you never saw the 17 years of building this thing from the ground up. That's
Absolutely.
it. That's his. So the very first thing that we can do is accept the fact that we're addicted to challenges. We are. But you cannot, and this is the rule you must have, you cannot start another challenge until you know that everything is protected. But everything is protected. If you can quit doing whatever we're doing at any moment and never have to worry about a bill, never worry again, then you may have the world. The world is a challenge. Go at it. But always, always, and this is the hardest lesson I learned, there is a big difference between paper wealth and real wealth. And real wealth is knowing that you can step away from this at any point and not have to worry. That is powerful because then now you can risk it all because everything is protected. You've got nothing to lose. You literally have nothing to lose.
Yeah. So, Andrew, tell us about your business. What do you have this idea to start your tech
Tech support.
business? Yes.
Well, it started because my father asked me how to forward an email, and my mother and I kind of just laughed it off. But in reality, when we started coming up with this idea, I did some research, and the stats were actually overwhelming.
Huge
Uh,
demand. Absolutely.
According to a lot of this was from the Pew Research Group, and I have all my work that I've published on this and on my LinkedIn page and Tech Rescue's page is over 62% of seniors across this country, which make up somewhere in the neighborhood of about 89 million of us, all right, ages 65 and older, 62% do not feel comfortable with technology. Over 73% of them have no idea at the level of capabilities that we are right now. They have been left behind. They are still at the
Absolutely. And now there is AI also, and they don't know how to use it.
And guess what? We're talking about an age group, a demographic that has started off the technology era back in the 1940s, where computers were punch cards and they made up the size of the Chrysler building. The Chrysler building, one of the reasons why that some of the buildings are solid, that you can't see windows, because that was where they held computers.
Wow.
They needed to reinforce them. The computers were these massive computing machines. In the numbers, that's what a computer looked like. Guess what? They grew up with that. Then they saw the invention of a cell phone, a car phone, satellites. These people have been through it all since the very beginning of it all. But their capabilities are stuck in the early 2000s. That's realistically where we find our customer base is in the early 2000s. We are 25 years chronologically, but according to our research with our call center and all of our analysts working for us, we are 25 years linear difference, but we are over 70 years in technology wise difference between this generation. We have the computing power in the palm of our hands that we just pop bubbles on and swipe for dating. That phone, that iPhone 16, that Android Samsung Galaxy S24 or 25 now, has more computing power than the entire space shuttle and NASA combined when they sent Neil Armstrong to the moon.
Wow.
Let that for a second. Somebody, any one of us, could have controlled the entire mission control, one person, with this in the palm of their hand and land Neil
Wow.
Armstrong. We have the Chat GDP can run any number of high and astronomic calculus. trigonometry that would make a telephone book. We have all that power and technology, and that's where we come in. Bridge that allows them to be comfortable. Somebody who's not familiar with Bluetooth, without connectivity, without the struggle. We're the bridge. We have call center
With
that
the
runs 24
security, with
hours.
as well,
Yep.
people are getting hacked, losing money, getting the accounts hacked, you name
So
it.
here's another scary statistic. Our study goes back to 2022, and we've done the prelims since then based off of a 5-year analysis. 1 in 6 seniors in our country is scammed. The average loss per scam is $33,600. That's 1 in 6. It is estimated that over $4.7 billion has been stolen from people.
I think, yeah, you have it because it's a great market, and it's a market that nobody wants to serve, and it's a great market.
So
Very nobody wants to serve this market, the seniors market, and it's wonderful market. They're very kind people. They have ability to pay definitely. They have a problem that they want to solve like everybody else, and I can tell you for some research that I had done as well, exactly with in the same that you run it, and I know for a fact that it's a great market to be in. So you have a
so
very healthy business.
so this goes to rule number 3. So when I started this 2 years ago, I reached out to one of my professors at Harvard and asked for his time, asked for his effort, and I sent him over my business plan, my projections, my analysis, my SWOT. I sent him everything. I said it would be beyond appreciative if you could give me your honest opinion. Well, I'd say about a couple of weeks later, I get an email back, and there's notes, and it said, call me. So we went over it, and the piece of advice that he gave me, I'll leave with everybody else. If you focus on doing something that helps and actually tries to make everybody, a single person, just one person, don't think big, but if you can do something that makes one person's day a lot easier, better, or nicer, and you're slowly helping make the world a better place, money is not what you're going to be looking at. It's helping people. If you create a business that helps people, money will come because you're not doing it for the money. You're doing it for the ability to help. And you do that, you know the saying, good things happen to good people. Good things, uh, no good deed has ever been unpunished. Oh, think of it that way. And money will be the least of your concerns. They're the least of mine. Money to me now is it's part of our operation. It's our marketing campaign. It's our money on in terms of hiring professionals to do in-depth market analysis. It's an operate it's flows. It's not, you look at it and you lose the sense of shopping like an Amazon crazy wish list. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna spoil it for the audience. Yeah, it's like that for like a little bit. I think I spent 4,000 on Amazon in one purchase. I know. But it disappears because you come to the realization as you're pouring money back into the company that your focus goes from what I can get, and now it's like, oh, now we're growing, now we're expanding, now we're having these deals come through, now we're talking to these people, now we're going on these podcasts. Like right now, it becomes part of the background, and then it gets to a point where it's annoying, right? So I hire a CFO. I hire somebody that handles everything. And now I have a financial advisor and an and I have an accountant. So
Oh,
I get the phone call once a week saying, you know, this is what we're doing. This is what's going on. You want to do this or you want to do that. And we just keep moving. That's what running an organization is. I don't want, yes, if I want to, I can pull up details and I can have the 2 hour long conversations. I can see the spreadsheets. But where you get to a point of is you're now moving down the river. You're in your kayak and you're just going. And you're full of wealth. It's the only way I can describe it. You're just going with the flow and staying in the flow. Because
so
the
Andrew,
other stuff
somebody, yeah.
is a distraction.
Absolutely. If somebody's in love with our conversation, want to find out more about you, how can they find you? How the process work? Can you share this with us to
Of
conclude?
course, you can go to www.techrescue.io. You can find all of our social media there, our YouTube channel, our TikTok, Instagram, Facebook page, our LinkedIn, where we have articles and where we have our analytic reports on, the market, the industry. Um, and you can find us there. Find me personally there with my link to my LinkedIn. And if you have a question, please feel free. Oh, and if you want to call us to test us whether or not we're going to be on opening baseball day, 855-250-8586, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on Super Bowl and Christmas, believe it or not.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Andrew. That this time with
Thank
you have
you.
been fantastic. Yeah, you're a great guest. And for all of you following this broadcast on Stop I'll see you in our next episode. How brave entrepreneur like Andrew break that wall and achieve the first million. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thank
Follow
you
us
so
for
much.
more
Pleasure.
interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.